Welcome to this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast, where we look forward to shaving every day. Welcome to episode 78 of the podcast. My name is Rick DeWeese. I'll be your host this week. This week, we've got a lot to talk about. I do a quick report. Snowmageddon has come and gone here in the South. I'll tell you about that as well as a couple of shave of the days. A cowboy boot update. Just thought I'd throw that in. My experience with a Schick injector, and in fact, it's a special Schick injector for me. It's been, well, kind of my go-to. I talk a little bit about other passions. You know, we talk about shaving a lot, you know, because obviously it's a passion for us. But what other passions do people in this community have? There's some that actually are rather common, which is, well, interesting. I found a new YouTube channel. And I'd tell you a little bit about it. It kind of sucked me in over the weekend. I sat back and looked around and went, oh my gosh, I've just spent like 3 hours watching this YouTube channel. But it was great fun, and I'll tell you all about it. And finally, speaking of other passions, I finish up with part 2 that I didn't include last week because I was running like way long. Part 2 is, well, a little bit more on coffee. Let's get on with this show. Okay, it's the calm before the storm. All right, we're about to get phase 2 here of Snowmageddon in the South. And today, it's supposed to come in tonight. And it's going to be interesting because it is sitting there and saying that... you know, things are supposed to start sometime this evening, you know, early evening time frame, you know, 5, 6 o'clock. But if I look at the Weather Channel, Weather Underground, which to me is the official source, the temperature is still going to be, you know, above freezing. So it may be snowing, but it'll be above freezing. So hopefully it won't sit on the ground too awful long. And, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll be slick as snot tomorrow, but for right now, anyhow, it's absolutely beautiful. It's, you know, 36, 37 degrees, and the sun's out, and squirrels running around. Squirrel! And just another beautiful day in February. Okay, so shave of the day. The Big Green Monster again by Dr. Johns. And what did I discover today? Well, first off, the Big Green Monster with the big Omega Monster brush tends to load very, very nicely. It's kind of interesting that. And one of the things that I wanted to try the other day, I had kind of mentioned, you know, that I had been getting a little bit better lather performance out of the big brush using a little bit more water. So today I started off with 2 teaspoons of water and in fact added a third, and which is way more water than I normally use. In fact, even back in my heyday with the Samog, I would only use typically 2, and so I added 3 this go around, which again is a lot of water. The Big Green Monster sucked it up without any hesitation, didn't have any problem, a really good lather. So I'm going to have to go back and kind of rethink, you know, is it a situations where Dr. Johns is maybe a tad thirsty and just really has the ability, if you will, to absorb copious amounts of moisture? Or is it a situation where the brush is having the influence and just being able to lubricate everything within the confines of that large brush is really what I'm doing? I don't know yet. Again, I'm no expert here. I'm learning like you guys are. So it's a curiosity. It was not what I expected. Now, today I was reaching for the Fat Handle Tech, and I said, well, I know I've shaved with it a bunch of times, and yesterday's shave was, right on the verge of, okay, I mean, it's done. The blade is definitely done. And so I picked up my 1920s era Gillette and open comb with a feathered blade that's got a few shaves on it. And lo and behold, I proceeded to shave. And I also proceeded to nick myself because, it's that feathered blade's got a couple shaves on it. And I don't know how many it has. It may have 4, 5, 6, a dozen shaves on it. I don't know. I can't remember. But it had a blade in it, and I knew it was a feathered blade. And I said, well, what the heck? I'll just go ahead and pick it up and use it. And so there's my mistake. Now, it only nicked me in one spot, and that was on my neck. And everywhere else gave a beautiful shave. But the interesting thing is that it's a tad more aggressive, as one would imagine, and as one would expect from the tech. And it's interesting. Again, it goes back to my theory that as time went on, as razors have evolved, if you will, they have become less and less prone to cutting. Not necessarily less aggressive, but less and less prone to cutting skin. The theory that I have, of course, is that, it started out with, straight razors, which is just a bare blade against your skin, and the opportunity to get cut is very, very high. And then that goes to a single edge or a double-edged razor, potentially an open comb, but relatively perhaps a tad aggressive. I don't know. They hadn't really refined the idea of being mild and everything else, and done the studies and work there. So, the beginning era, if you will, being just a maybe a tad more prone to cutting. Not necessarily aggressive necessarily, just, it lacks some of the potential features that would make a razor less prone to cutting skin while still doing an excellent job shaving. And then as the era, as time moves on, people again are getting less and less close to the straight razor, and so they're looking more and more towards something that is easy and convenient and simple. And then you move into the modern era, and the marketing hype. I mean, it's gotten to the point where shaving is in fact just a utilitarian thing for the majority of people, for the masses, if you will. And so, you want something that is quick and easy and throwaway and doesn't cut you, and it's because if it cuts you, that means that you need to take your time. And if you need to take your time, if you're going to take your time anyhow, then perhaps, you don't need the throwaway. Perhaps you can go ahead and, in your mind anyhow, justify the expense of getting a decent razor. And if you're going to take your time anyhow, then the thought of whipping up a lather with a decent brush and some good soaps is, not that foreign. So, of course, the marketing hype is, you don't need to take your time. You just need to, spray some of this goo in a can into your hand, spread it on your face, boom, you're done with that. Pick up the disposable razor or the cartridge razor with the disposable cartridge on it, and shave in big strokes, one fell swoop, boom, you're done. No muss, no fuss, quick, easy, nothing to worry about. Very utilitarian. Interesting marketing ploy. Now, the thing is that if it's utilitarian like that, you cannot design anything that has the propensity to nick, gouge, or cut. Because, that would be just the opposite, and people would then take their time. So anyhow, that's my theory, and I don't know, going from something modern era, say, a Schick injector or the Tech or something like that, where they really do a pretty good job and don't have a propensity to cut and nick. And going back to a double-edged from the 1920s or 1930s, although my 1930s new is really a gentle razor, although it can cut you from time to time. Yeah, okay, I'll stick with my theory. So anyhow, that's my theory. Another great shave finished up. The menthol in the Big Green Monster is for me, it's just about at the right level. It's enough to be there and remind you that it's there, but it's not distracting. It's not enough to get in the way. It's just enough to have a nice cooling effect. It's pleasant. It's not annoying. And again, everybody reacts to menthols differently. That's what makes us human, our differences, and the differences are to be celebrated, because God knows if we were all the same. It's a good thing to be different. But anyhow, I digress a bit, like I typically do, and so the menthol in the Big Green Monster is just about right. At least for me, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I have not looked. I have purposely not looked on the website to discover what flavors or scents are in this soap, because I have a hard time distinguishing. I don't know. It's not something that jumps out at me. Anyhow, wanting to continue the menthol idea, I went ahead and finished up with some fine aftershave, and happened to be what I had on hand, which was clean vetiver, which I enjoy a lot, and so get a little bit of a menthol freshness, if you will, from the fine aftershave. I need to pick up some more. I really enjoy the American blend, and I've never tried the platinum, and so I need to get some and give it a try. So that's where I am today, as I travel down the road off to the donut factory, and the wonderful sun is shining, and it's 38, 39 degrees out here, and it's supposedly the calm before the storm, and who knows? Tonight when I am recording the podcast, or at least editing the podcast, I may be in absolute blizzard conditions, and looking for the Saint Bernard to pull me out of the snowdrifts, and well, who knows? I put a video of my front yard out on YouTube just so that people could laugh. It is a light dusting of snow, and when I say light dusting, I really mean a light dusting of snow, and that caused a 2-hour delay for the school systems. I couldn't believe it. Now I understand, I understand the dangers of ice. I do get that, but this was a light dusting of snow. The roads were wet. It was above freezing. I mean, come on. Really? Anyhow. I'm not a government official, and I'm not elected, and I can't be held responsible if somebody gets in trouble on a school bus or driving to school or whatever. I mean, I understand that, but I don't know. Back in my day, that's what I tell my kids anyhow. Back in my day, we had to walk miles to school uphill in the snow both ways. It's just summer, winter, 365 days a year. It was snow and cold and ice and bare feet and uphill, and it was drudgery and terrible, and had homework all the time, and book bags that weighed 40 pounds. Although I must admit, we had lockers. We used lockers. That has amazed me. In watching my kids go to school, they have lockers, but they don't seem to use them. or they don't seem to be able to use them. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they've cut the times in between classes to absolute nothing so that they can't use them, or what the deal is. But it seems outrageous what they do to these kids, because almost all of them have, you know, these backpacks and bags and everything else. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. You know, it's like, give the kid a chance to walk, socialize a little bit, you know, go to their locker, get their books, go to the next class. I mean, come on. Anyhow, again, I digress. It's very difficult for me to stay on any one topic for very long. There's just so much in there. It needs to get out. Anyhow, that's where we're at today, and we'll talk about other things later. This one might sound a little bit odd for some reason, and I don't know why. I've got a sore throat. Well, I can probably imagine why. I mean, the temperature swings have been just, well, wild this last week or so. You know, it was freezing and snowing and everything else. It's 47 degrees this morning. So anyhow, the throat is just a little rough. Just got something going on. Don't know. But figured I'd tell you about the shave of the day. Today, I've got 2 teenage sons, and if they hit the showers back to back, and you know, the wife gets up earlier and usually has a shower and everything before, and so I was faced with something that happens, well, every so often today. And that is, I ended up having to take a lukewarm / cold shower and we'll shave with cold water. It happens every now and then. No big deal. Some people think, oh my God, how can you do that? It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's just water. Granted, warm water is a little bit more comforting, but cool water or, something with the chill taken off it slightly is not that bad at all. Now, washing your hair with cold water, that will wake you up. But anyhow, so I was using Dr. John's Savannah Sunset again, just because, well, I really like the smell of that stuff, and used my my Ever Ready Hydro Magic. Still has the same blade in it. Now, I went and I was going for socially acceptable for a couple of reasons, not because of the cold water. So if you take that away, that would be a wrong assumption. I was running a little bit late, and the other day when I used it in the shower, I did hook myself once in the neck, and that was interesting. It was just, I don't know how I managed to do it. It was almost like I used the edge of the end of the razor and just kind of, I mean, a nice little nick. It was interesting. Now, took a while to close up. Had to use a styptic pencil on it and everything else, and usually I don't get myself that badly, but I did for some reason, and I've also got a spot on my chin that's causing me some issues right now, and these things happen again. I go back to the thought that the razors of old, whether they be straight, single edge, or double edge, blades or injectors or whatever, were designed sharp and stiff to cut. And so if you're not just 100% on your game and doing the no pressure dance, you can and most likely will cut yourself. Now the thing is that you kind of balance, and this is true with any razor I've found. You kind of balance the don't cut yourself or the sharpness of the blade with, well, the amount of pressure you put on the blade to get, well, a good shave. And so, I'm thinking that I probably exacerbated the the potential to cut with my injector razor, because it has so much age on it and it has so many shaves under its belt. It's probably a bit dull, and because of that, I'm applying a tad more pressure on it to do a good job. And when I apply that tad more pressure, well, I'm just therefore prone to cutting. Okay, yeah. Now, in a modern-day cartridge razor, you can press just about all day long, and it's exceedingly difficult, if not impossible, to really cut yourself. I can guarantee that on a cartridge razor or a disposable two-blade Good News or something like that, I would not have gotten the same cut on my neck as I did with my injector, only because the edges of the blades are just surrounded and wrapped in plastic. So that issue is taken away by the cartridge razors. Okay, so maybe they're a little bit safer, but they don't shave any better. That's the thing. It's again, I go back to the idea that it almost seems that in the 50s, that's when the pinnacle of the ability to shave just kind of was reached. I don't know. It's weird when I think about it. It really is. The injectors were, to me, kind of the height of things, and then, well, stuff just kind of went downhill from there. Now, the other thing is that I have not, for the last couple of days, in using the Dr. John's, I haven't used any aftershave. And I just wanted to see just the longevity of the scent, and I've been pleasantly surprised. Now, they're definitely not all day long, but there is, if you like the scent, there is a lingering effect, if you will, of the scent, which is, well, rather nice. It's just kind of a reminder of the pleasure of the soap. So that's good stuff. So just a quick little update on the eBay Cowboy boots that I have. I don't know that those things were ever worn. Or at least, I don't know. The heels fit perfectly. I mean, the 10.5 is an absolute perfect size for me. But the body of the boot itself, I'm having some, I don't know, it's not rough or anything. It's just, it takes time to wear them in and, get them to where you want them to be, as far as fit and everything else. But it is a little bit of an ongoing process. I'm really glad I didn't get the elephant boots. I would have really enjoyed the elephant boots. I mean, they look lovely, but I also know that elephant takes forever to wear in, and that may be one of the reasons why they looked absolutely pristine, is because somebody put them on and said, this is not worth breaking in, and just stuck them in a closet somewhere. And in fact, that may be what happened with the boots that I have. But slowly but surely, we are stretching them out a little bit and breaking them in and getting them so that they fit well and comfortably, and life will be good. So, but it is a process. It's not one of those things. It's kind of like hiking boots. You don't buy a set of hiking boots a day before you go on a long hike and then expect not to absolutely obliterate your feet. It's kind of like, the first time you don't buy a straight razor, and the first time you've ever picked one up, expect to get an absolutely lovely 3-pass shave that's BBS, without any issues or trouble. It just doesn't necessarily happen that way. There is some learning to occur. Both, you have to learn the razor, it has to learn you. Kind of the same way with a good pair of boots. You've got to fit to them, and they've got to fit to you, and it's kind of a mutual handshake, if you will, to prevent, well, what could potentially be disaster. It was back in the day, it was well said that if you want to keep keep going and keep an army going, it has to take care of its feet, because we need to be able to walk and move and carry on, and so you start not taking care of your feet, and that becomes, well, more difficult. Well, today I finally did it. I finally changed out the blade in my injector razor. It took a while. It took, I don't know, I probably had 20, 30 shaves on the dang thing. At least 20 that I know of. Lots of touch-ups. I know that. Yeah. So, finally changed it out. A little bit smoother. I don't know. I could have potentially gone for another while. A little bit smoother. But I did change it. I just kind of felt, well, it was time. Now, when you look at it, you want to talk about value for the money. $5 for a pack of blades, which is where I got them at drugstore.com. And, get almost a month's worth of shaves off of one blade. Yeah. Good stuff. So, if you haven't tried an injector, that may be something that you might want to, well, take a look at. It's potentially something that is a viable option if you are looking to save money, or on the other hand, if you're looking for, well, just a good shave, well, it fits that category as well. And partly because the blades on those things, they're a little bit thicker, and they're more rigid, and so they don't bend around a whole lot. So this morning I reached out and grabbed my sample of Wickham Soap Company Spice Trade, and good stuff. That it's I'm just kind of all over the map this week. No real direction. Just kind of shave here, shave there. No big deal. No stress. Just kind of hanging out, really. So, it every now and then it just kind of gets like that. And it doesn't help this week that I've got a bit of a sore throat. So it just makes it a little bit difficult to talk about things in a, well, animated fashion. Just because, well, things are just a tad sore. And, that's always, I don't know. It lets you know that spring is here, I guess. That's usually when these kind of things happen. And, don't really know why. It's, I don't know if it's a cold or if it's just a reaction, allergies. I don't know. But, and it's only on one side. That's the other thing that's interesting. It's just weird. Anyhow, the shave of the day this morning was, very good. Used my big Omega brush just to see. And, again, it's very much true to form and true to fashion, maintaining the majority of the lather up in the brush, and used 1 teaspoon of water just because I thought that's what it needed, and seemed to do a real good job giving me a nice thick lather, so that was good. Really enjoy the scent of this stuff. It's got that Old Spice kind of scent, and so really enjoy that. It's kind of it's welcoming, I guess, is the best word to put it. It's a known entity. I grew up with that stuff, so to have something like that in the early morning is just, well, it's just nice. So that was the shave this morning. Did a real good job. I mean, it was nice to have a blade that was brand new. I mean, that's always kind of a neat thing. Didn't have any nicks or cuts or anything like that. Wasn't overly aggressive. Didn't need to be. It's I could be a little gentler on the pressure just because it's a brand new blade. It's almost like it's almost like a mental thing, as the blade wears, the pressure increases slightly, and so all good stuff, and that's what I did today. Well, I haven't recorded anything for a while because, well, I've been, taking just kind of a break maybe. it's weird. I don't know. It's just, you get burned out every now and then, and so you just kind of kick back and take a break. Anyhow, what have I been doing in regards to shaving? What I have been doing is, well, a little different. I have been just kind of playing around, but I have been playing around with, well, a razor that, quite honestly, has been almost a go-to razor that hasn't been well named and described. And, you know, I mean, I've talked about it in the past, but I haven't talked about the fact that it is, well, my go-to razor in a lot of situations for light touch-ups, cleanups, when I'm in a hurry, whatever. And that is my Schick Hydro Magic injector. Now, the reason that I say it's my go-to is because it just kind of sits there. And whenever I need a quick touch-up or something like that, I will grab it, and it will become the razor of choice. And it has always done an absolutely excellent job. Now, the thing that's interesting, and the thing that is probably the most, I don't know, special about it, is that the other day I used it, and I was using it in the shower, and I happened to be using the Savannah Sunset, Dr. John's Savannah Sunset, and a Police-On brush in the shower, and did a great job face lathering. But I had my Hydro Magic in there, and it did a beautiful job. I mean, talk about BBS, just a couple of passes, and boom, there you are. Great stuff. Now, this morning I used it, but I didn't use my Police-On. I actually used my I don't know, $6 or $8 Kabuki brush that I cut off the handle to make it a better travel brush, so it would fit my travel brush case. And I used it, and also face lathered. Again, did an absolutely fabulous job there. Great scent, by the way, in the Dr. John's Savannah Sunset. I'm going to have to get some of that, because that is good stuff. But both times, I used my Hydro Magic. Now, the thing that's well, interesting is, I believe the blade that I have in that Hydro Magic, I put in, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago. And I probably have 20 shaves on that silly thing. And it's just now starting to give up the ghost. It's just now getting to the point where, okay, maybe it could use a change. But the length of time that I have been using that particular injector blade has been phenomenal. Now, especially when I look at the fact that I bought that blade through drugstore.com, and the Schick injector pack, I think it's like 10 blades for $1, or for not $1, for $5. It's like $4.95 for the pack. I don't know what that comes out to, but it's less than $1 a blade. And when I look at the ease of use, the closeness of the shave, the longevity of the blade, it's really, it's almost like that is, or that was, the pinnacle of shaving. And to a certain extent, it almost seems like somebody somewhere realized that was the pinnacle of shaving, and looked around and said, okay, we got to make these blades smaller, faster, cheaper, and not last as long. And then came up with the cartridge system. Because these things they're rigid, which means they shave well, they function well, they're durable, they last. I mean, it really is a spectacular system that is also very easy to deal with. It's just nice. So I wanted to talk about that because I really have been, well, astounded, I guess is the best word. You know, I was reflecting on it in the shower, and I was literally taken aback, kind of holding this thing, looking at it, going, holy cow, how many shaves do I have on this thing? And I'm thinking it's somewhere up around 20. I mean, that's what kind of hit me back, when I was thinking about it. And that's just amazing. I mean, to get that many shaves on a blade and still have really good shave qualities, I mean, that's good stuff. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to talk about Well, in this short little segment. You know, I have oftentimes wondered what other passions or what other things go with, well, wet shaving. You know, the types of personalities that are into wet shaving. You know, we've already talked about coffee, for example, and the ritualistic nature of coffee, and the fact that kind of parallels to a certain extent the ritualistic natures of wet shaving. And there's a lot of people that are into wet shaving that are also into fountain pens. And first off, fountain pens are wonderful devices. It's really amazing, and a well-built fountain pen is just, well, it's an absolute joy to work with, to use. It's messy filling up. Not really. You'll lose it. Well, I guarantee if you spend a good bit of money on a pen and turn around and lose it, you may not want to buy another one because I don't know. I've never lost a pen, and I threw one out. It was an inexpensive one time, and I shouldn't have. I didn't realize what was actually going on, and so. It's a learning process as well. It wasn't that expensive. It was like $15-20 or something like that. Fountain pens are another thing. Mechanical watches, not the electric ones, not the ones that you have to put a battery in, but the mechanical watches, the ones that are either self-winding, the auto wind with a rotor in it that spins around and recharges the spring, or one that you wind by hand. There's a lot of different watch people out there, and there's a lot of different watches. Some very nice watches are made by Japanese companies and Chinese companies. There's some really nice movements that are out there. There's, of course, the Swiss watches and the Swiss movements, which there was a time when you could get Swiss movements, and then there was a time when the Swiss movements were a little bit harder, if not impossible, to get. So that's a little bit of history there, but there's those types of folks, and you kind of sit back and think, okay, what else is there? And it kind of harkens back to, okay, maybe there's people out there that are into, restoring classic vehicles, the ones that, instead of having fuel injection, actually had carburetors. There's a little bit of tinkering and mechanical stuff to go with that. Are there people out there that are makers and make things, whether that be 3D printing and stuff like that, or woodworking and making stuff out of wood. I enjoy making stuff. I'm a maker. I've made stuff for years. Once I figured out how to do it, part of the fun for me is figuring it out and then going out and trying it. So there are those kind of folks too, and so you really you kind of sit back and reflect every now and then on what kind of personality is drawn to wet shaving? Someone who is beyond the fact that shaving is just a utilitarian event, that it is potentially more than that. And so maybe it's someone who has an old vintage car, and because you kind of get the impression if they're willing to step away from the utility of shaving, are they also willing to then step away from the normal utility of driving, and have something that's a little bit more, something with, instead of an automatic, a stick shift or a column shift, and something with, in fact, a manual choke. Remember those back in the day, and you kind of think to yourself, nowadays somebody would go, "Ooh, why would you want that?" Well, because it becomes a process. It's not about, it's not about just turning a switch and using the utility. It's not about the foam in a can. It's not about those things. It's about, experiencing the event. Radios, whether it be shortwave or ham radio or even broadcast radio, the folks that utilize and celebrate the old tube radios, you kind of get a feel from them that they enjoy the process. They it's nice to be able to just turn a radio on and flip a frequency, tuning dial and keying a mic and have the radio take care of everything. I mean, that's nice. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, there's a level of involvement when you get into the process itself of tuning an amplifier or tuning a radio with tubes in it, and it's one of those things. And, so there may be some parallels there of people using the vintage radios to listen to broadcasts or to listen to shortwave or something like that. So it does kind of take you back, and make you think. There are the folks that have old knives and old axes, and don't mind sitting there and putting an edge on them because, well, that's what you do, and that's, you learn how to do that. You learn that process and that, mastery. And, putting an edge on a knife on a good knife is, a whole lot more involved than just having a cheap throwaway knife that you picked up at a garage sale or, a flea market or something like that for $5. And as soon as it gets to the point where it's so dull that it can't cut a piece of wood, you throw it in the trash and buy another one. It's, I don't know, you get to a point there where you might as well just pick up a plastic one. Sounds kind of like a disposable razor, doesn't it? It's, anyhow, it's just, those are the thoughts this morning, and there you go. Well, my sore throat is going away, and so I'm starting to feel a little better, and that really helps. Feeling a little bit more, lively, which is a nice. Being under the weather, no matter what that weather is just, it's frustrating. Anyhow, the shave this morning, just real quick, whipped out the Nathan Clark Badger brush, threw it into the sample of Dr. John's Savannah Sunset, and whipped up a lather in the salsa bowl, threw it on the face, and did a lovely 3-pass shave with my Injectomatic with the new blade, and really did a fine job. Took my time, slow, luxurious, just, no rush, no fuss. It was just, wonderful, wonderful shave. And the scent of the Savannah Sunset, I'm going to have to get some of that. It's just, I'm going to have to get that, and I'm going to have to get some of the Jaloo aftershave, just because, like the Veil Flowers or the White Lily would just, it'd just be perfect. That combination, I think, would just be about, perfect. So anyhow, that's kind of what I did this morning. Then, of course, went down and roasted some coffee, some lovely coffee, some Costa Rican. I did order some more. I've got 8 pounds coming, 2 pounds from of different types. Most of it, all of it, either Central or South American. Mainly because I find that I enjoy the Central and South American coffees more than some of the others. So that's happening, and just, I don't know, just feeling better. Went to a scouting event last night, and we're working on an expiry. An expiry is a big is a big camp out, which you've got the troop that has campouts. Then you have a district camporee where all of the troops in a district camp together. And usually that's probably, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 troops, somewhere in there. And then once every 3 years, you have an exporee. And the exporee is all the troops in all the districts in the council. And there's like 5 or 6, 7 districts, something like that. But there's usually 300, 400 people at these things. And, well, we just have, it's once every 3 years, and we just have a good time. And so one of the things that we're going to be doing, because we're the amateur radio troupe, is we are in the process of getting clearances and everything else, because we're having this one at an airport. And so I'm wanting to set up my repeater and set up a 2-meter station and a high frequency station so that we can talk all over the place and maybe do some training and merit badges and stuff like that to just really have a good time. So that's one of the things that we're working on. I'm working on picking up some more inexpensive radios. I can get them for about $30 a piece. I need to change out the antennas once I get them, though, because the antennas that come with them are, just a bit, I don't know, shoddy. They're not real good antennas that come with them. But for $30, and I can program them with my computer, and I can clone them basically. And so I'll put 3 or 4 channels on them, and just kind of hammer away at them and have all the radios so that they have those channels. And maybe I'll bring my computer with me so that I can program on the fly or something like that, and attach some flags to them so that people know who owns them, Troop 96. And we'll have a good time. So looking forward to that. That's always exciting this time of year. We're getting ready for a camp out here, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that. Going to go down and do a couple of nights of camping, and got some boys that are coming over from a Webelos 2 den and crossing over into Boy Scouts, and they're coming to us, so that's a good thing. Grow our little troop a little bit, and we had 4 boys age out, and so we're getting reinforcements. That's the way I look at it, getting reinforcements. So it's just kind of, it's just fun and exciting. I enjoy spring. There's a lot of activities and a lot of stuff to do and a lot of stuff going around, but it's all good stuff. Well, I have been enjoying a YouTube channel. I didn't know it existed, but I found it, and there's probably some of you that are, all over it and already know about it. I didn't know about it. And what YouTube channel is that? Well, Jay Leno's Garage. I knew Jay Leno had a huge collection of automobiles, and that's what he's kind of known for, other than the Tonight Show and the comic act and all that. But I didn't realize he had a collection quite so big. Well, he's got a YouTube channel where he talks about most of his stuff, or a good bit of his stuff, the restorations, and he takes things out for drives, and I mean, it's nice to see someone who has vehicles of that style, and he's got all kinds of motorcycles, luxuries, the old vintage Duesenbergs, Bentleys, stuff like that. And he actually takes it out and drives it, which is nice. He's got some steam cars that are just fabulous. I mean, it's really interesting, the technology there, and it's just fun to see somebody actually using them. So I have spent a good bit of time watching his YouTube channel, and to a certain extent reminiscing of the days of old, and kind of dreaming, what if, if I ever hit the big game, have a small shed or barn or something like that with a couple of really nice cars in there, and a little shop to be able to take care of them and restore them and things. And I mean, it's just, it's really nice. And, when you have somebody that has the wherewithal of a Jay Leno, and it is a passion of his, it's nice to see. It truly is. Now, the other thing that's interesting is that when he shoots his video and, kind of meanders around the, complex that he keeps his cars in, it's really an absolute, fantastic sight when you realize that this thing is, a huge warehouse. I mean, it is absolutely huge. And, I don't know. It's just interesting. The other thing that I like about him is, when I watch him, is the fact that whenever he's there, he's got a dungaree shirt and blue jeans on. And, he typically wears about the same thing. And like he's pointed out and on many occasions, one of the reasons that he wears what he wears is because, it's not about him. It's not about what he's wearing or anything else. It's about the cars. And, that's a good attitude. It's nice to see that his passion is such that it's about the cars. And, so for me, with a passion for wet shaving, it's, and having the podcast to be able to, talk about it, it's nice to see somebody else who has a passion for something and uses a medium to get it out there so that other people can enjoy it as well, so that they can share that passion. One of the ones that I really liked is, Tim Allen has a Camaro, and, he brought it over, and Jay Leno and Tim Allen were on the YouTube video talking about this Camaro of Tim Allen's and taking it out and doing burnouts and just generally having fun. And I mean, it was really it was a wonderful video. And I mean, he's got a production crew and everything else, so he's got that wherewithal to be able to do that. But it is just rather nice and fun to watch. It's really a good thing. The joys of good coffee, of good home roasted, fresh ground, fresh brewed coffee. Even if it's a little bit cold, the flavors are still intense and wonderful and vibrant. It's alive. It's, it has an off gas. The spirit of the coffee has not left yet. And that's what makes it so much better. It's all about the oils and the flavors and those components that make coffee what it is. And it's very interesting, when you think about it. People say, "Ooh, it's vacuum packed and all this." Well, I'm sorry, but if it's vacuum packed, unless it was roasted, within the last couple of days, really. When you open that vacuum-packed pouch, that smell that you get is the closest you're going to get to fresh coffee, because that's the spirit of the coffee leaving. Now, the nice thing is that this morning, I put a little bit of home-roasted coffee beans in my grinder and ground away, and that smell that exuded out of the little catch, the container that I catch the coffee grounds in, that smell just continued, because there's a lot of life and spirit left in the coffee, and it went from there, and within minutes it was swimming around in hot water, letting its life essence exude into the welcoming moisture of the hot water, so that I could then enjoy it and drink it. And I don't know, it's that's probably what I enjoy about it most, is that it is very much, to me anyhow, alive. It's a celebration. It's kind of the difference of buying an apple in the store or walking up to a tree and picking an apple off of it fresh that's ripe, and tasting the flavors between the two. One has the consistency of an apple. One has the texture of an apple. And some apple flavoring. The other has consistency, texture, and a flavor that absolutely explodes with nuances and spirit that just, it's alive, and you can tell that it's alive. It's just a marvelous thing. The difference between something as simple as a green bean that you buy in the store and cook up, and it's like, okay, it's a bean, it's a green bean, it's no big deal, versus one that's fresh and just picked out of a field, and you can almost taste the freshness and the wondrous nature of that creation. It's really an amazing thing. In a lot of instances, the food that we eat has also been marketed to us to a point where it's almost utilitarian. Yeah, they try to dress it up and they try to make it nice, but it's almost, utilitarian. It's, I enjoy, for example, going to farmers markets and getting fresh foods that someone has picked just, recently and locally. And there's a reason for that. The flavors are better. It's just a better product. And the question is okay, well, if that's a better product, and if people understand that that's a better product, why would they then not do the same thing, have the same mindset with other things that they eat and consume? Whether it be coffee beans or local milks or fresh eggs or something like that. It's really a difference. I mean, if for example you take the difference between a farm egg and a grocery store egg. The grocery store eggs, the shells are thin and white and consistent, and they crack easily. And a farm egg, it's you have to put just a little bit of effort into it to crack the shell, because it's thick and it's there, and it's got some substance to it. And the thing that's interesting is that when you then taste the egg that was in said shell, it's almost the same thing. The grocery store egg, the one that was produced on this huge farm that, in this huge barn with thousands, if not millions of chickens laying eggs, is thin and just, it lacks body and life. And meanwhile, the farm egg that is there, it's thick and rich and it's got soul. I mean, that's the way to put it. It really does. It's the difference between ground pepper that you buy at a store and pepper that you grind yourself. Why is it that the pepper that you grind yourself tastes better? Because it's fresh. Because the essence, the oils, the flavor components haven't left the building. They're still there. They're still playing the music. It's interesting. We understand these things, I think, as a society. We do know that. We know that fresh ground is, peppers are better than, the stuff you get that's pre-ground. We understand these things. There are certain things that we just take for granted, and yet, by and large, we absorb the marketing, because it's easy and it's convenient, and that's really what they're selling, and that's what they're marketing. And I mean, even if you look at the grocery stores, they market the fact, for example, that their produce is fresh. Okay, how fresh? And compared to what? Compared to the store next door, or compared to the stuff at the farmer's market? What's the definition of fresh? Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? It's an interesting thing. It's really, if they say it's fresh, they're not necessarily telling a lie. It's kind of like I said before in one of my earlier segments last year. They're not lying. They're marketing. And it's all about the marketing. When you look around at your life, at what you're being exposed to, it's marketing everywhere, whether it's the news, whether it's politicians, whether it's, the things that you see even on signs on the side of the road. It's all marketing. And the thing is that it wouldn't be quite so bad if it wasn't so successful. Marketers are creatures of habit, but at the same time, they will only continue to do typically what works. Why do you think, everybody complains about slinging mud in political fights? Well, why do you think they do it? It's because it works, because people pay attention, even when they don't like it. Even, it's almost like driving past a car wreck. Everybody looks. They don't like what they see, but everybody looks. Even when they know that they're not going to like what they see, they still look, and they're still influenced by it. And it's the same thing. People complain about the fact that politicians sling mud and don't have anything positive to say about each other. Problem is that anytime anybody does sling mud, well, it sticks. People react to it. People change the way they think. People change the way they feel. And if you're going to change the way you think and feel over something as silly as somebody saying something bad about someone a week or a couple of days before an actual election, is it any wonder that politicians don't fear any repercussions? Because we don't remember what they do. We don't remember that they voted on something that we vehemently disagreed with 6 or 8 months ago, let alone last year. We don't remember. And if nobody mentions it, if nobody brings it up, it's going to have absolutely no impact or effect. We've become a bunch of we're marketed to at all sides, and we have absolutely no ability to think for ourselves anymore in some instances. Because we just sit around and wait for the marketing to show up. How are we supposed to feel about this? How are we supposed to feel about that? Why are we supposed to do this? Well, we don't know yet. We'll have to wait until the marketing tells us. And that marketing may be a radio show, a television show, whatever. But that's what it is. It's marketing. Even news anymore, the nightly news. Well, it's marketing. It's not really news for the most part. It's much more opinion than news. And in that opinion is marketing of the viewpoints and the stances that they want you to have. And the thing is that because people are so used to succumbing to the marketing ploy, they accept and adopt those same stances and viewpoints. It's amazing when you sit back and understand what it is. And it's sad when you sit back and watch it happen.
Well, that concludes this episode of the Brush and Soap and Blade Podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed making it. If you have some suggestions or would like a topic covered, drop me an email at brushandsoapandblade@gmail.com or give me a call at 864-372-6234 or contact us on Twitter at Brush and Blade. You can also visit us at our blog, brushandsoapandblade.wordpress.com. As always, we're available on iTunes and Stitcher.